Good morning. Welcome to the weather discussion for September 27th, 2011. It is currently 8:42 a.m. And as you can see, we have an area of showers, rather heavy showers, moving to the north-northeast towards what likely would be northeastern Pennsylvania and eventually towards the Mohawk River Valley of central New York. Well, more of this is on the way, and it's because our upper level low is finally starting to move east. So let's take a look at our water vapor satellite picture. It's my favorite satellite picture to use because you can really see all the details of the atmosphere. And as you can see, our upper level low is really wrapped up and finally starting to move east. And the reason why is because of this trough and this disturbance right here, kicking this upper level low to the east-northeast. Now eventually, this upper level low will become entrained in this trough, and that is going to have a big impact on our weather pattern for this weekend, which I'll get to in a moment. But as you can see right now with our upper level low, as it's moving east, that means that lifting associated with this upper level low will slowly progress to the east and take all of this low level and mid level moisture that is just sitting over the northern Atlantic and producing dense fog in the morning and muggy and humid conditions in the afternoon, and create a lot of rainfall over the region. Now the setup with this situation is that although the showers will be scattered, with all this moisture in the atmosphere, they'll be capable of producing very heavy downpours. So you end up with a heavy downpour, then a break, then another heavy downpour, and another break. And that's pretty much the way that this whole entire weather pattern is going to set up over the next 48 hours. I just want to show you one interesting aspect here, and this is the 850 millibar moisture transport. Now I've been showing this to the premium members for a couple days now, and what I want to show is, first of all, here's our precipitation, right? It's over central Pennsylvania. It's moving to the north-northeast because of upper level winds from the southwest. But at the mid levels, you can see this shading here, this green shading. Now remember where this precipitation is. It's basically from here, rotating all the way around back through the Great Lakes. I'm going to take the radar off. Hey, look at that. This is our moisture advection. You see, now what's happening here is that as our 850 millibar low is moving east-northeast towards the Ohio River Valley and eventually towards western New York, this lifting, this 850 millibar lifting apparatus is going to move east with it. And as a result, it should strengthen because it's going to come in contact with the Atlantic Ocean, and that is what's going to produce our widespread showers starting likely tonight on through tomorrow and into Thursday. Now again, it's not a complete washout, but it is a situation where these scattered showers are going to develop. They're going to be throughout the region, and when one of these showers moves into your location, you'll know it because the downpours will be very heavy. So again, a break, heavy downpour, a break, heavy downpour. Look for that all the way through Thursday. So let's take a look at the model guidance. I'm using the European model guidance for this morning, mostly because I think it's handling these upper level lows the best. But to be honest, when it comes to upper level lows, there is a lot of volatility in the forecast, as we saw this weekend, where this upper level low was just a little bit further west, and we ended up with a dry, yet cloudy and muggy weekend, rather than constant threats of rain. So this type of pattern that we're going to be dealing with over the next 10 days is highly volatile and will be changing as we move forward in the forecast period. So here we are for this evening. Our upper level low is continuing to slowly move to the east-northeast. It'll finally reach the Ohio River Valley tonight. As you can see at the surface, with high pressure over Maine and the Canadian Maritimes, we set up a southeasterly wind which is transporting even more moisture into the lower atmosphere. So southeasterly wind to New York City and Philadelphia means more moisture, which means more fog tomorrow. But also notice at the mid-levels of the atmosphere, we have a lot more moisture being drawn into the northern mid-Atlantic, and with slightly more lifting, you end up with more scattered showers. Now heading out by tomorrow evening, this is Wednesday evening, our upper level low again is slowly inching to the east, very slowly, but notice here's our trough starting to entrain this upper level low. Meanwhile, we really don't have much of a significant surface impression. Again, this is really not a surface storm setup. It's really driven by the upper level and mid-level dynamics of the atmosphere. So we end up continuing with a weak southeasterly wind with some enhanced lifting, especially at the mid-levels, and we end up with plenty of moisture in the atmosphere at the mid-levels, and thus more scattered showers. Again, not a complete washout, but more scattered showers that will cover more of the region. Of course, if you're not under the influence of one of these showers, you'll probably be saying, what rain? But believe me, it will be falling. Now, moving into Thursday evening, our upper level low gets captured. We have a tremendous amount of lifting along the mid-Atlantic coast. And remember, we have all this low-level moisture sitting overhead. So Thursday, I think, is going to be the day where we really see a lot of rainfall setting up here. So when I say a lot of rainfall, I mean that the region is going to be widespread rainfall, likely a period of moderate to heavy rainfall associated with this upper level low lifting to the north and east. This weak boundary. It's really not a warm front boundary because it's not getting any warmer, but it's not a cold front boundary either. It's just pretty much a trough of low pressure. So with this trough of low pressure building in and moving in, we'll see periods of rain on Thursday afternoon on through Thursday evening. But we have another strong upper level feature diving south towards the Ohio River Valley, and that is going to mean trouble because this disturbance will first drive a cold front through on Friday evening, which will produce more scattered showers, but also will introduce a drier, cooler atmosphere for a short period of time, because then as we move into Saturday evening, that energy that was diving towards the Ohio River Valley dives towards the southeast coast, and this is starting to become strongly supported by all the model guidance. And what we have setting up here is another situation. We get another cutoff low. And this is typical of a fall pattern, especially one that's highly amplified and trying to work out all these wavelengths. It's pretty much par for the course for a transitional season, which covers spring and fall. So this upper level low starts to cut off, and then, upper level low sitting over the northern mid-Atlantic on Sunday. But notice on Sunday that the majority of the lifting is focused off the coast. And when we look at the mid-levels, at 700 millibars we have a lot of dry air around. At 850 millibars we have a lot of moisture around. This tells me there's a lot of low-level moisture, but not so much mid-level moisture, which tells me that we're dealing with scattered showers and variable cloud cover. However, if this upper level low is a little bit further west, let's say instead of over Philadelphia, it's over Baltimore, then in that case we get more of a transport in from the Atlantic, we get stronger lifting, and we end up with more rainfall than what's currently forecast. So I currently have isolated showers forecasted because of this setup that we have here, but dry air at the mid-levels and moist air at the low levels. So if this is a little bit further to the west, then we end up with more rainfall. And as we head towards Monday, again, we have an upper level low off the east coast. We have an area low pressure moving towards New England, but this is a little bit more south and west. Then we end up with a different scenario with more moisture advection along the coast and stronger lifting. And as a result, we end up with a better potential for rainfall on Monday. So it's something we're going to have to keep an eye on, as upper level lows are always tricky. One thing is for certain though, is that with these upper level features sitting overhead, cooler conditions are on the way. So say goodbye to the lower 80s and say hello to the 60s for highs as we move into this weekend. In fact, for lows, some people will be in the 30s. That is your morning forecast for September 27th. As always, you can trust in NYNJPA Weather for all your severe weather needs on Twitter, Facebook, and at nynjpaweather.com. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have a great day.